Hi, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to talk about the application of Namedtuple. For example, here we learn how to store and access latitude and longitude with clear feed names instead of indices. Here we are importing the collection module and we would like to work with Namedtuple. First of all, we define a name tuple for GPS coordinates. For example, we would like to store a GPS coordinates that we got from the Google map, let's say, and simply using the name tuple, we can have a coordinates with its latitude and longitude. Okay. And then, for example, we are going to create an instance of that coordinate and we are naming it NYC or New York. Then we are going to here, when we are creating an instance here, we are inserting the latitude and longitude respectively. And finally, if we would like to access it, we can write down the name of the instance that we created and then put a dot and then the latitude and dot, the longitude. Therefore, when we use the print function, we see these two numbers in the output. So instead of writing, for example, NYC for the index 0 and NYC for index 1, now we are using nyc.latitude and nyc.longitude. It helps to improve the code readability because it makes sense. For example, now that I see, okay, here we're talking about the NYC, which is probably New York and its latitude. And here we are talking about NYC longitude. Okay, we are talking about a coordinate. So it's understandable for someone who does not develop this code, who didn't develop this code. It's understandable for that person as well, most probably. Instead of having, for example, in the output, for example, NYC 0 and nyc1. When we are having this in the output, probably we need to have a comment somewhere saying that, for example, I'm using nyc0 to have the latitude being printed out in the output and nyc1 to have the longitude being printed out in the output. However, if I use the indexing like this, most probably we need to insert comment. For example, these are talking about the latitude and longitude coordinates imported, for example, from Google Maps for New York City. Okay, so probably we need to provide a comment so other people, when they are reading our code, they can understand that what we're talking about. It's way easier to use latitude and longitude, so it improves the code readability. Here, let me have another example. For example, I could have coordinate 2. I use name tuple, and then I have the, for example, coordinate 2. Then we are having, for example, the latitude and longitude here. Okay, so this is another name tuple that we are defining for our GPS coordinates. And this time, when I want to create an instance of this coordinate, I, for example, type down Montreal. So we are going to talk about the Montreal, and then we are having coordinate 2, and we can have a number, for example, 45.5017 and minus 73 dot whatever, just a number. Okay, then in order to access that, we simply print and I write down the name of my instance that I created, which is Montreal, then dot and then latitude, and with a comma I separate it from the longitude, so I write down the name of my instance again, and this time put a dot and I type down longitude here. So when I print that, we should see the coordinates in the output again, like we inserted here. So we see that we can provide coordinates, GPS coordinates, and use a name tuple to have the latitude keyword and longitude keyword, making our code more readable. And then we are creating an instance of that name tuple, and using that instance, we can have access to latitude and longitude that we created earlier. Thank you for watching.